Good morning. Good Sunday morning. It has been a slow, crazy morning this morning. Things have been good. Scott and I overslept really, really bad. We just got out of bed like 20 minutes ago, and I had forgotten to make the live. Y'all, if it ever happens like that, I will get up immediately and make it. I just need to make them ahead of time. I will always let you know if I'm not going to be doing a live on Sunday. I'm so sorry. Anywho, how are you guys doing? How is your Sunday? Where are you from today? It is nice and cold. 42 and drizzly, it says. Although I see a little bit of sun peeking out from the mountains over there. So hopefully it'll be dry enough that Olive and I can do our bike run in a little bit. Oh my goodness, y'all. I have not had my coffee this morning. I promise I'll stop yawning. Hi, Karen, Debbie, Emily, and Elizabeth. Doing great. 38 in Arizona. Where in Arizona are you, Elizabeth? I'm curious because, gosh, I would think Phoenix should be like at least 60. So you're probably more north, I'm assuming, instead of south towards Phoenix. Oh, Lordy. Scott, I usually don't sleep this much. I don't know why we're so tired. I don't know what time we went to bed last night. I fell asleep watching or listening to my audiobook. Anywho, how are you guys doing? How are things going? I would love to know. Prescott. Okay, yeah. Scott actually, you know about Embry-Riddle there. Scott actually went to Embry-Riddle. He did not finish at Embry-Riddle. He went there for 3 years. And that's actually where my brother graduated for aeronautical engineering. So I've been to Prescott and understand now why it's colder there. From Virginia, Laura. Where in Virginia? You're probably East Coast, I'm assuming.
That was funny, ran into those runners from Bristol.
Hi, Sherry. Good morning. Is building an ark good exercise? I'd say probably. It is probably a whole body exercise. Oh my gosh. Y'all, the yawning is done. Scott brought me some coffee.
That is
my first cup.
That is fictitious. I'm pretty sure the yawning is going to continue for just a few more.
Okay, now you're making me want to yawn. Oh my God. Southwest Virginia. Laura, I lived in Bristol, Virginia and Abingdon, Virginia. I'm curious if you're near there. It's actually my very last year of high school. I finished in Virginia there, where I graduated, because I was in Vegas until then. What? No, it's fine. It's completely fine. Okay, one more yawn. I promise I'll stop.
Until I reinfect her with my own yawns.
Oh, Rural Retreat. Oh, very nice. I've been through there. Marion, yep. I had one of my clinicals for school, for PT school. We had to go to, Lordy, I don't even remember. But we go through Marion pretty frequently. I lied. There was another one.
You invite me to...
Oh, y'all give me 1 second. I need to send an invite to Scott because he was down there making coffee. Oops. That's not it. Invite. I'm just going to email it to you. This is what we get for waking up real late.
Why am I so tired? Bug bites.
Scott got a bug bite.
The one on the toe just kept me like itching.
On your toe.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh. My bug bites are literally welts this big. I have the worst problem with bug bites and my body reacting very viciously to them. All right, Elizabeth, thank you. You're getting us started. Been carnivore since June. My doctor was shocked that my lipid panel improved in all sections. Not everybody's lipids go up. It is a really, really big genetic component. Mine went down like 3 points. My LDL went down 3 points. Some people will skyrocket, but it is a genetic thing. Also, along that, from seeing the cardiologist and stuff, there is a type A pattern and a type B pattern. The type B pattern, you express more cholesterol. We can, environmental, like what we eat, what we do, we can actually cause our body to express a B pattern, which means your body produces more cholesterol. Okay. It has nothing to do with consuming. It has to do with producing it itself. If you express the B pattern, you will have much, much higher cholesterol levels. But things like bad diet, like eating, sedentary life, those kinds of things can help express the pattern B, which means you have more higher levels of cholesterol. And not eating cholesterol won't bring it down. Just time, energy, effort. And I think where the genetic part comes into play is some people are just being closer to the line of pattern B, they're just a little closer to tipping over versus someone like myself where I'm further away from being pushed into the pattern B and expressing more cholesterol. Plus, just some people naturally have high cholesterol. Oh, thank you, Lovey. It's not always genetic when LDL raises on keto. Listen to Dave Feldman. Yes, and it's not. I mean, it's not, but it is a big part of it. But there are so many factors that go into cholesterol. And the thing is LDL has been vilified, but it's actually a necessary cholesterol. It's not one of these things where you want to get LDL to 0, because if you did, you'd be dead. It's just been vilified over the years. Most, not all, more modern papers about LDL, they say don't call it the bad cholesterol and the good cholesterol anymore. Tim said, good morning to the superhero, Scott.
Superhero. All right, there we go. Put me on the other side so that it looks natural and I look left and you look right.
Thank you, Lovey. Mm-hmm. You also need to raise your thing up. Okay. Mary. Yeah. Bought the Element with your link. Love the chocolate one. I make it ice so good. How many packages are okay to have a day? Honestly, he's throwing books on the ground over there. I've never had more than one, but I use the Element more as a supplement than a treat is what I do. I know some people have had like 3 a day. When you're not eating carbs, your body gets rid of the salt easier, but you can still, no matter what, have too much sodium. I wouldn't do more than 2. Personally, I wouldn't do more than 2 a day.
Yeah, I said the other day when I had a headache and I had body aches and I was just like, oh, I'm just feeling terrible.
I split a package between both of us.
And half an hour later, it's feeling good.
Yeah. One of my favorite ways for the raw Element is taking a cup of water, and I'll split the package in half most of the time between the two of us, but a cup of hot water, and I pour it in and then just drink it. Because it is hot, it allows it to super saturate the salt, so it's not as salty as if it's cold. That is the way I drink most of the time, the raw Element. The other stuff I'll drink cold or however I'm going to drink it. Laura, how do you ensure you get enough fat in your diet? I'm worried about that. Honestly, it is meal to meal, day to day. It's reassessing how I feel, because some people are going to get really upset that I say this, but I don't believe in macros. Let me explain. Yes, there probably is a magic number for everybody's individual body you should never get underneath, but what you do one day is going to vary what you do next. Like yesterday, we were pretty sedentary throughout the day. We did walk the dogs, but Scott wanted to play video games. So for his birthday, even though it was last month, and I played with him. The day before, I did work out yesterday, but I worked out. I did the bike run. We did like 3 or 4 walks. I will need more protein and slightly more fat on that day than I did like yesterday. So I always assess after I eat. Am I feeling hungry sooner? Am I feeling satiated? Did I feel like I needed to eat more? And then I address it the next meal. Or earlier this week, I just didn't eat enough. And I think that was the day that I didn't have eggs for breakfast. I ended up having meat sticks and some cheese as a little snack. And I don't snack very often, but sometimes that's how I kind of, supplement in there. We always add tallow. Mm-hmm.
So,
or
okay.
butter,
If
just
you
a little
want
bit.
to add your up your fat intake, have some bacon. That's easy to do. That's a little snack. It's got protein. It's good
Scott
fatty.
loves bacon.
Add some cheese. Just snack on some cheese. Add butter to.
Well, she said she's just worried about getting enough fat in her diet.
Yeah. So add some butter to your meats.
Lean towards fattier cut of meats, and if you get a leaner meat, just go and automatically add a little bit of fat.
Yeah.
Other than that, your body knows. Like, we've only been using medical studies and macros and stuff for like the past, well, macros are more recent, the past 70 years, maybe
60, 70 years.
Yeah. Our bodies and the humans survived way before that, before they knew what perfect macros to eat and this and that. Now, it's called min-maxing. I absolutely hate it. It is where you try to squeeze every ounce of orange juice out of an orange or lemon out of a lemon. Like, you are literally squeezing the sucker out of that. I hate that. I hate min-maxing. It drives me insane. And this is why I hate tracking macros, because it makes me obsessive versus just listening to intuitively to what my body is saying. I'm feeling really lethargic and I didn't eat enough fat earlier. Like that is how I figure it out. Mary, it has helped me a lot with the keto flu. That's awesome. Second week now, down 8 pounds altogether. Woo, woo. I feel so much better already. Why do we go back to the sad diet when it makes us feel so bad mentally in pain? Oh, I've got the answer for that. Habits. How long? I've spent 20 years of my entire life using sugar and carbs and crap food to emotionally support myself. I feel bad, I go eat something. So it is hardwired into my brain. You feel bad, you want a mental change of state, go eat something crappy. And then we do keto, well, you could do, or carnivore. And you're like, oh man, I feel amazing not eating this stuff. But then a crappy moment happens. You get super duper stressed. And then your brain reverts back to, okay, I want to feel less stressed. I want to feel better. You know, that donut, that would help you. And that is exactly why we do it. Exactly. And that is why the whole point of my showing up for myself for 365 days is showing the tiny habits that I am developing to not go back to that. I am recording every single thing I put in my mouth. So if I go and eat a box of crap, I'm going to record myself doing that, because that is the whole point of this, is being 100% transparent and showing how the habits can help. And if I falter instead of fail, if I falter, how I get back up and what kind of habit I put in place to prevent that. Do you have something you would like to add to that, Lovey?
No, you pretty much hit it on the head. Really, it is that decades of experience, depending how long you've been on the earth, of replacing your emotional state with something sweet or something that is carby that satisfies you, and that changes. It's changed from day. I mean, God forgive me, please. I had literally. She talks about the Oreos as a joke. You're having a box of Oreos. Well, I would have a box of Oreos and a half gallon of milk as a snack.
A half gallon of milk? I did not know that.
Yeah, I would just dip it down and drink it, and it was like, oh, it's too thick with Oreo stuff now, and I drink all that, and I put another cup in, and I just go through the whole bag of Oreos because that tasted really good to me for whatever reason. Now, if I have Oreos, that's like, Exorcist projectile vomiting.
Okay. That's a lot. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry. But anyways, my point is that the whole process of whatever you've been eating for as long as you've been, to change your emotional state, change your mental state from whatever you're stressing about. Could be stress about finances, could be stress about an interpersonal relationship, could be stressing about your dogs, your pet, your cat, whatever. That takes time to overwrite with better habits.
This is way off subject. I had the most brainy idea. John, my brother, he has a little microphone things. Mm-hmm. It's 2 channels. We could plug it into the laptop so you can be heard just as clearly, because I know they can hear you, but it's not as clear as they can hear me. Oh, we're going to borrow those and try those.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. We're going to go see the baby, so we might as well go down to my brother's and pick it up today. Sorry, I got off off. But yes.
So we're going to go next to the
Germ Factory.
Germ Factory.
Called Aria, my youngest niece. Kavita, if I'm saying your name wrong, please tell me. I am. When I would go to patients, I would have Russian patient names and and I would sit there for 10 minutes trying to pronounce them correctly because I don't want to call someone the wrong name. So if I ever pronounce your name wrong, please let me know. Kavita, new sub, binge most of your videos. Just curious, why did you stop calling Scott right brain? So the reason I used right brain in the beginning at all is because Scott wasn't sure he wanted to do or be part of any of these videos. So versus calling him by his name, I used right brain. And so he's obviously now a part of the videos. So he gets called Scott. That is why.
See, originally, this was going to be her story and
no Scott in it at all.
Her message, and I didn't want to cloud that, because we really wanted, when we started this out, Amanda, we want to encourage people to try carnivore, to get healthy, to take control of their lives, and she was going to be, an example. And then after a while, it just kind of turned out that,
Scott is part of my journey. Period. Yes, the end.
I'm very good at encouraging. I'm very good at also being a bad habit.
Yeah, we all are, aren't we?
So, both of us learning and growing has been instrumental in her getting better.
That's just like, I read a comment the other day from the 8-month video that I did. And remember the bloopers at the end? I forgot all about them. The Benefort instead of benefit. I said Benefort. And he's like, do you really Benefort? It was a cute comment. Mary, one habit I have is wanting something at 3 o'clock. Work was day done. Okay, work day was done at 3. I'm now having a cup of tea at the same time. It has worked like a charm. Perfect. Awesome. And these are the little tiny habits, like, because 3 o'clock rolls around and you're like, ooh, something like, snacky sounds real good. And I can't tell you, and you may not even know yourself, what habit developed that. Like, something happened. Maybe at 3 o'clock, you're just like, oh, yes, I'm off work. Amazing. I can unwind, and I'm going to unwind through food. And who knows? Doesn't necessarily matter. But the fact is that you replaced it with something really, really good. And that's the whole point of this is I got 360 pounds by tiny little habits compounding that got me there. I didn't go from, actually, I've been overweight my entire life as an adult, but the lowest I ever got was 183 pounds. I didn't go from 183 to 360 overnight. It was years of these compounding I don't even want to call them bad habits, but these compounding habits that led me that way. Karen said she loves the haircut, Scott.
Yeah, thank you.
He's going to go back to the first dude that did it. He did a much better job. We really liked it.
Yeah, it was really good.
This one's better than the last.
Like Gandalf impression with push out brows. Gone for now. I'm trying to go back to
Gandalf. Yay. Once I started listening and learning what my body really needed, things began to fall in place. My body started feeling happier. Yeah. We don't need external outside sources telling us, like, I just use macros because it's the simplest thing, but like macro trackers of I have to ensure that I have 120 grams of protein, or like, what is it, a gram per lean pound of body mass. And it's like our body recycles a lot of what we consume for protein as the amino acids. It recycles them. It's not like for every gram you eat, you poop it out. That's not how it works. And so that's why I feel like the whole making sure you have the minimum amount is just stressful. Listening to your body is the best. Scott is so encouraging. He is. Y'all, sometimes when I have my little, it's like once a month, I'll have a good little cry. Like, I will just sob my brains out. And so I swear, if I do it this time, I'm just gonna record myself crying my little eyeballs out, listening to his sweet, encouraging. Everybody needs a little Scott when they're having a breakdown. We just need to bottle you up, and then we can sell you for like when emotional breakdowns happen.
You do much better selling Annie bottled up or Sadie bottled.
Oh, the dogs? No, you're the best. You're the best. Anyways. Michelle, going to a cookie candy exchange today. Whoo, that'd be hard for me. Made keto peppermint bark, even though it's sugar-free. It is a treat. I kept one piece for my husband and one for me. All the rest is going. And that takes some strength, let me tell you, because I don't know if I could do that. But that's a beautiful way of, if you're going to participate, doing it in a healthier way. So I say amazing. You might even, while you're there, keep a little piece that you could just break little tiny chunks off if you're really feeling like you need something. Or, I don't have it up here. Again, it's in downstairs. Take your Redmond's Salt Rock and suck on it while you're there. Dee said she's going to mention that I can hear you loud and clear, but I can barely hear Scott when I turn the volume up to here. We'll just have him talk louder for today, but we're going to borrow those little mics.
I have no problem talking louder. I'm really good at it. When I'm excited, I talk really loud.
She said, then, Scott, you're way too loud. Oh, my gosh. Dee, I hope Scott did not just blow your ears out.
So sorry.
Or anybody else. I don't think you need to talk that loud.
That? Okay.
We'll get that figured out this week. I'll borrow it from my brother, and that should help, because then you'll clearly hear both of us with the same volume level too, as long as he's not screaming in the microphone. Andrea, I decided to buy half a steer this summer and got a bunch of fat with it, rendered it down and made tallow. Perfect for cooking, and made skin balm as well. The balm seems to keep my skin moisturized better. I wonder, Scott has, he gets stress eczema, but it's been much, much better. In the wintertime, his skin gets so dried out, it cracks. I actually have
we have hand lotion at
every single sink.
At my desk, above my headboard, like everywhere. And I just put hand lotion on constantly, and it just, you can put it on and rub it on the back, so that's where it gets dry. And it's kind of funny. You can see it on there, and then my skin just sucks it in, and you don't see it anymore after about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So that might be something that we
maybe
try out, is because, we make our own tallow too. Mm-hmm. That might be something perfect for his skin. I'm going to butcher your name. I'm so sorry. Okay, you're going to try it first. Their name. Akansha. Please tell me if I'm saying it wrong. Hi, Amanda, longtime follower. I'm Indian and want to make sure that the brown butter bites is ghee. Leave butter on medium, high heat, 25 minutes, and you make the most delicious ghee right at home. So the difference between butter and ghee, okay, is those tiny little pieces. Those are the milk solids. The brown butter bites are still technically butter, because what you're doing to make them is you're browning the milk solids. Ghee, no milk solids. Okay, it's just the fat from the butter. Butter is milk solids and fat together. Now, you could make. So
essentially, you're making ghee by making
brown butter bites, except you're not straining the milk solids out.
But if you strain the milk solids out, then you have ghee.
Yeah, if you strain the milk solids out, you have ghee. I have never tried to make a ghee version of it, so you could try browning them. And I imagine it would be
better.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is normally with ghee, all you do is you literally cook it the same way you're going to make the brown butter bites, like my video is, and then you'll use a cheesecloth to strain out the milk solids. But most of the time, you don't need to brown them. You just, they when they separate, they turn white and kind of sink to the bottom, and you can just, boom, dump them out. But I bet browning the milk solids and then straining them will still give the butter a slightly caramelized, or the ghee, slightly caramelized flavor, and you could still use that. If you do that, let me know. Try that out. I haven't, because I don't have anybody that is so reactive that they can't have milk solids from butter. But let me know how that goes. Thank you for considering a change in the mic.
Yeah. Thanks for the feedback.
Yes, because we try. Yeah. So, Misto had a bender yesterday. I find it hard around birthdays and Christmas. My birthday is in December. Do you find it more challenging around holidays? Mm-hmm. Scott hates the holidays because of food. That's it. Not we like the time with spending with family.
Let me clarify here.
Okay.
After Amanda kind of gets to her target weight, I'm not going to worry about it. But part of what we've had to struggle with is that, there's birthdays, there's events like anniversaries, and Valentine's, and all that. And we're on this weight loss program. And we'll get going for a while. We'll start building some good habits. And then, well, there's an event and we go eat a little bit off carnivore. And it's like this stumbling block, this little pebble, the snowball that turns into a boulder. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, we had, a full on burger, carb bender, whatever, fries and everything. And the mental impact of that for Amanda is that
I'm a failure.
She's a failure. And it's not like it's like she's gained all this weight and all that, but the mental impact is I'm a failure and I'm lying on YouTube and, why would anybody listen to it?
Even if I do admit to doing it, and I have.
She has. Yeah.
I have, but it doesn't matter. I still feel like a big old failure from it. Sorry, I just want to say that.
Right. So for me, the frustrating part is like, and this is part of like the encouragement discussion. I'll explain this. Actually, I want to talk about this. Is it okay if I talk about this a little bit? All right. So the mental impact, and this is where I'm a failure versus I stumbled. When I was talking with Amanda last week, and she was, having this kind of like emotional meltdown, which is that time of month, and I was explaining to her, like, listen, your problem was pride. And she's like, no, it's not pride. I don't believe in myself anymore. And I'm like, okay, let's work through this. What are you unhappy about? Well, I'm not, not where I should be. She was out doing leaves for longer. She's like, I should be able to do leaves more longer, but now I overdid leaves and my hip hurts and all these other things that she's trying to accomplish. And she's like, I should be here. If I had done something differently, I'd be here. I'm like, listen, that's pride. Because if you cannot accept the choices that you made in the past and you cannot let go of that, then you're expecting something more than yourself than you did. And that's pride. So let go of that and just accept, okay, I'm not where I thought I should be. And try to recognize the trade-off. We covered this last week when things don't go as planned. I kind of talked about that. Like, I didn't graduate as an engineer. So I had to learn to accept that I might be very smart. I might be a really great employee. I'm a lousy student. And so I didn't graduate as an engineer. Years later, I got my business degree. However, learning to accept that the choices I made is I don't have the career I thought I would have. I don't have the income I thought I'd have. That was pride once I let go of that. And then I can accept, well, wait, okay, I choose a different path and I met Amanda. And because of the things I did differently, I met the love of my life. So I had to teach. Go ahead.
And I just want to reiterate, when Scott fell off the path of engineering, he definitely, I don't think, ever saw himself sitting here right now with me.
Not even close. Never.
And that's just it. It's like when doors close, the whole saying, when doors close, windows open, or whatever, is extremely true. There's so many things in life in the moment I would have wished things would have changed. Like, I used to just absolutely bawl my eyes out, praying and wishing if I could just be skinny. But the thing is if that had happened, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. And as much as I loved physical therapy and helping people, and there's a mosquito in this room, a tiny one.
That's the one that's been getting us.
No, I don't think so, but it does need squished. It's over there. As much as I loved physical therapy and helping people, it wasn't my life's calling. It just wasn't. And it wouldn't have been, I would have never found what I wanted to do, which is share my story to help people to improve the world a little bit every single day. By just sharing, I wouldn't have found it if I hadn't gotten to 360 pounds, as much as, that it is what it is. So no matter if you're sitting in a situation, you're like, this is crappy. It sucks. I'm miserable. I wish I could snap my fingers and not be there. I promise you in 6 months, you'll look back and be like, you know what? There was a really valid lesson learned in that.
And that's what I had to kind of convince her of last week, was that the losing weight and then plateauing and then actually gaining a little weight and then come back down. Well, that's a 8-month path that nobody else on YouTube is showing. Nobody else on YouTube has expressed or gone through and say, listen, if you're going through a rough spot, I've been there. You can keep going. You can do it.
Well, Kelly Hogan
apparently took her a couple of years, but Amanda is the one that's going to be like showing, okay, well, this is where it's at. I had habits that got in the way. I had better habits that I tried to take over and just keep going. And that's what I was trying to get at and talk about this was that no matter where you are, if it doesn't feel like it's going well, keep going. We know this works. And to get back to the answer to the question about like when she gets to her target weight, we'll probably do like Carnivore because we love broccoli cheese soup. And
you mean like permanently?
Yeah.
I'll probably just oscillate between carnivore and ketovore. Some days I'm full on carnivore. I don't even have dairy. Yeah. Well,
definitely we're not going back to this ad. There's not going to be the carbs that will probably be in our diet will be a few like sweet treats from fruit, like some good raspberries or something, or some strawberries, or some vegetables. Anyways.
Scott got off on a tangent.
I
used to tell him when he would do that, I'm like, Scott, meat and potatoes. Give me the meat and potatoes.
Which now we got to actually say
something. Scott, give me just the meat.
Just give me the meat.
Of the conversation. Aries said, 26 months, carnivore for life. I'm rock solid, happy, and healthy. You will never eat any other way. Congrats. That is amazing.
Congrats.
Yes. Miss Misto, Lord of Mercy, said adding a bit of hyaluronic acid before moisturizing helps seal it in. Jojoba.
Okay.
Jojoba. There we go. Oil is cheap. So, yeah. I actually might have some.
Okay.
Casey, do you have any recommendations for a keto cookbook?
There's a couple we have that we just don't really use because we're carnivore, but do we run and get them? They're on the table downstairs and we have not organized them.
No, because we really haven't used them that much, so I don't want to recommend them, and they're not that great because I really haven't used them.
Okay.
I make my own recipes when we were doing keto. Y'all, what's her name? Oh my goodness.
All right, move on.
I'll come back to you because it'll come to me the name that I'm thinking of. That's a really good YouTuber for that. Oh, here's Laura. Will you continue carnivore or do modified version? Scott already kind of answered that.
Yeah.
It's really, really going to depend on the autoimmune. Like, ideally, I would love if I could have raspberries once a month or maybe when they're in season here and there, but it's never going to be a daily or weekly thing, I don't think, ever. But here's the thing. I might have terrible flare-ups from that until I get all of the weight off my body, the excess weight, and get all the inflammation down. Because despite my inflammation being much lower, it is still high, and having excess weight causes that. It does. It causes overall inflammation. And so we're going to have to reassess. Maybe I eat pickles now and feel fine. Maybe they bother me then. I don't know. I don't eat pickles that often, but it's going to be really reassessing and modifying when we get there.
Her Achilles heel is grilled asparagus.
Honestly, the pickles probably now.
The pickles? Huh?
Those pickles, are they boar's head?
The boar's head. Yeah.
Boar's head pickles. Oh. And then there's some Seattle company pickles. A1 said, tallow balms are very good for my skin. I have patches of actinic keratosis. Tallow seems to work with my body better. We'll have to try it. Andrea, Christmas seems to have even more temptations. Also worried about cooking oil the meat is cooked in. How do you tell family tactfully about seed oils? I get indigestion from seed oils. I just tell them, like, I get terrible indigestion from seed oils. And I say it is instantaneous. And you could just tell them that and say, hey, would you mind using this, and giving it to them? Like, give them some tallow, give them some avocado oil if you're okay with using that. Because we still use avocado oil. It's simple, it's easy, and we use tallow. It just depends on what we're making. Give it to them ahead of time and ask them if they'd use it. For me, never doing any carbs, removed all temptations. It works for me. Yeah, it's all about finding what works for you. This is a way I will eat for the rest of my life. I still have the sugar addiction and possibly will fall down again in the future, but I always get back up and continue on the carnivore road. And
Yep.
I am right there with you, especially this bout. Like, how many days has it been since I haven't had a single bite of sugar? Like, not even like a half of a dark chocolate square. Since I started the 365 series, but was it a few days before that too?
A few days before that, yeah.
So we're over a week now of not having.
Since we had our discussion, you just kind of like let go.
So we'll just say a week.
Yeah.
Just to be sure. I have not had a single bite of sugar, and I mean a single bite of sugar. And it has helped so much. I can't say that I won't have like an upset happen and then that habit reverts back to, if you want to instantly feel like a mental change of state, go eat something. Because I mean, I spent 20 years doing it. I can't expect it's going to disappear. So I'm right there with you. And I think most people are. Some people do beautifully. And once they're on the path, they're on it. And amazing job. A lot of us aren't, though. Jojoba. Oh, so the J is pronounced like an H. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Will I remember that? I don't know. You probably have to correct me in the future. Paulina, the scale's absolutely my enemy. Trying this month to only weigh the first of each month and see if that helps. The ups and down wreak havoc on my head. Do it. Seriously. And something too, with a regarding, you can't see because okay, whatever. Regarding that is, be realistic with your expectations. Try not to have any. I have set, I want to lose a pound a week. Okay. And maybe I should say 0.1 pounds. Set your expectations the lowest you can humanly do. And be honest with yourself. Are you saying, I hope I've lost 15 pounds in a month? Because then you get on the scale and you get disappointed you haven't. Versus, here it is. I hope I lost a pound. And then if you've lost 7, amazing. If you lost 3, great. Set your expectations as low as humanly possible. And it is a conversation. And I'll have a good mental change about it. And then I'll revert back to the previous mental state. And then I have to have another mental conversation. And so it's a cycle of, I have to keep having these conversations with myself about the scale.
So this is the tiny habits we've talked a lot about, and that is setting something that's easy to accomplish, because there is a motivation and there is a ability. And what you want to do is make the ability easy to get, and then your motivation marginally high, so you'll get on the curve of actually doing it. For example, I have a lot of sitting that I do in my life. Office work for a long time, so my lower body is very, very tight, and it's hard to work out. I stretch every time I get a drink, and I do 1 push-up. And I told my brother-in-law about it. He's like, 1 push-up? Come on, man. Man up. And I'm like, that's what I'm doing. So last night, I've only been doing that 1 push-up per drink. I was doing like 7 or 8 push-ups a day. Last night, I did 4 in a row because I had 2 drinks that I filled up. 1 water for me, water for Amanda. And it worked great. I felt so good that I only had a goal of 1, but I did 4 in a row. And you just build from there.
Back to the keto cookbook stuff. Maria Emmerich, thank you. That was one. But also Anita from Ketogenic Woman. She does a YouTube. She has amazing recipe videos.
Right.
So Maria Emmerich, but Anita from Ketogenic Woman. That's what I would recommend.
Okay, I gotta say this. When I read jojoba, that sounds like Santa Claus. Jojoba. His wife interrupted him. Mrs. Claus.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
Maria, hey Amanda and Scott, hello. I'm in ABQ 36 degrees. What's ABQ?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm in ABQ 36.
Our weight journeys are similar,
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
It's 36 degrees. You're freezing your butt out.
Yeah, but I'm at least twice your age and learned Carnivore March 2022. I've shed over 150 pounds. Woo woo! 80 to go. That is amazing. Yeah, Nisha.
Yeah,
I'm obviously behind on these comments. Christy Sullivan, Betsy said Christy Sullivan. I've not ever seen nor know her, but then again, I don't use cookbooks, so I'm one of these is try it and see kind of cooks. Also born close to Christmas, tough times, but I make single decisions for my birthday and get back to Carnivore right away. Yeah, and the thing is I think having a plan ahead of time is the best. Is if you're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to have a full off meal and that's your agreed upon plan, do it and don't have regret afterwards, because it's the regret that leads to the spiral that leads to then a binge, and then it takes, however long to get back on track versus saying, you know what, this one meal for my birthday, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, we call that feeding the guilt monster.
Yes. Yes.
Because the guilt just compounds. You just feel more and more. You eat something else, and even if it's a chocolate square, you're like, I'm such a terrible person.
And it can be about anything. It's like, yeah. I was feeling bad, y'all, for eating a pickle and not sharing it. Like it's like a half of a sphere of pickle. I'd feel bad because it's like the carnivore police said you can't have this. You're not carnivore. And it's like, I got to the point where like recently, I don't actually care. I don't care. If it's what I'm going to do and it's my plan, I'm going to do it. I don't actually care anymore. So hopefully you don't care either. If you say you're carnivore and you have a pickle every once in a while, or you have a little bit of onion or whatever you have, don't care. Don't care about what other people think about it. Elizabeth, I originally started carnivore because I'm allergic to fruits, most veggies, gluten, and peanuts. My sister, I bet you feel much better getting all of that crap out of your diet. Whew. Funny enough, well, it's not funny, but peanuts, when I started getting migraines when I was like 4, 5, and I discovered as an adult, it's not the actual peanut. I mean, granted, they are legumes and they're not good for you, and I do have some kind of reaction, but I was getting migraines from the mold on peanuts. Peanuts are one of like the number one products to have mold on them, and they grind them up and put them in peanut butter. Migraines. Maria, thank you for the super sticker. That's super duper sweet. A little late to chat, but I just watched beginning at double speed to catch up.
I wonder if I double speed, like I'm doing kung fu when I'm talking.
That's funny. When I edit my videos, Elizabeth, I do double speed just to get through them a little bit faster with editing. And it's like, because I talk a lot with my hands. I'm very animated. If I need a cheat during special events, rarely. I go from carnivore to keto, etc. Keto cheesecake with fresh berries. Yeah. Aries girl, I can give you some excellent suggestions for tight muscles. I'm a PFT, professional fitness trainer. Okay, good. Thanks for that. You probably don't actually know, but I have 10 years in the physical therapy field. So I am...
Honestly,
I give Scott his exercises.
Standing, bending over, stretching my hamstrings. Yep. Like does wonders for me.
I have been begging him for years to stretch his hamstrings because he would hurt his back all the time. He'd pull his low back all the time, like to the point where he's laid up in bed and can't get out of it. This was happening even when we first started dating. I think he was doing it. Yeah. And it's just from the L sitting, like it's actually like this because you're sitting in a chair. It happens. It's a big issue with most people who work in office chairs because your hip flexors and then your knees are both bent. So the muscles constrict and they get tight over time. So then when you try to stand up, the hamstrings are attached to your pelvis. And when they pull too tight, they pull on your low back and boom, you got back problems. Mm-hmm. But I'm so thankful he's been doing this because we've been married 9 years next year. So 10, we've been almost together 10 years. Been fighting with him for 10 years to get this done. Jenny, I'm in Connecticut. We have a mild 60 degrees. That is nice. Rain all day. I'm virtually enjoying coffee, watching you and Scott sipping yours. I gave up coffee a couple years ago. I gave up coffee for 30 days. Maybe I needed to have done it longer. I didn't notice any difference. We did discover Scott and heavy cream does make him go all day long. So now he does butter.
Yeah, a lot more mucusy with the heavy cream. Liquid dairy.
You know, our heavy cream consumption is cut down by like 2/3 since
Can you believe those? Okay, before I met you, when I was working at University of Phoenix, these big containers of French vanilla heavy
Coffee.
cream,
It was Coffee
I
Mate,
would
wasn't it?
buy like 3 a week and go through that in coffee a week.
Yeah.
Myself personally, not like, and I would share with others too. But that's how much I would go through heavy cream. Now I just have a little bit of butter in my coffee. It's great.
Mm-hmm. I actually never thought I'd ever get him off the sweet cream or the sweetened creamers because it was the sugar ones. Interesting to see ourselves in each other, reversed, but same with my husband and I. He's Amanda and I'm more like Scott. This is both in personality, health, weight, thoughts, and goals. Valuable to hear.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah, that's why I say ketovore. Sometimes a bit of onion, but always have garlic. Yeah,
We pretty much garlic and everything. We have garlic powder with everything. We go to Costco and look at those things. We get like 4 at a time.
I mean, you could argue that I do ketovore because of the coffee. Even if I ate 99% meat, the coffee. But my goal, and I've been hitting it, is 95% meat. Like that is, my diet is 95% meat. And the other 5% might be the cup of coffee I have with a little bit of heavy cream. I don't do tons of cheese anymore. I mean, I like cheese. I just don't do tons of cheese.
The stretching started a conversation, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hear that, Scott? For me, it's back neuro damage that's created leg issues, horrific night cramps and feet. No amount of electrolytes help. I have to stretch and manipulate daily. Have you tried a foam roller? Or I have, if you can convince your husband to do it, I have a manual one. I don't know where the heck it's at, but it has ball bearings on it. Don't get a cheap one because if you have, don't get a cheap one. Anyways, you roll it. The foam rollers you kind of have to do yourself, but the other one is it's almost like a pin roller, but better. You could use a pin roller if you wanted to. Anyways, you just have them roll the muscles. That would help you a lot too. Or you can use the foam roller yourself. Did you have something to add to this?
Really?
Elizabeth, what is it with men being resistant to stretching? I have hubby stretch quads as well, so his lower back doesn't lock up. Also worked on releasing the psoas. I can't say it's just stretching. Scott has been resistant to, other than walking, physical stuff.
Like working.
He's been skinny his entire life. You were 130 pounds in the Navy. Like he's just been skinny. So I think part of his mental stuff was, well, the whole I'm skinny, I'm healthy mentality. Am I wrong?
Well, that and I've always had low testosterone. So there was a time when I was at the gym. I was there for about 3 months. I hired a personal fitness trainer, and I really just did not see any muscle growth.
Yeah, it was a few months you did it.
I was at really low testosterone. So, whereas most guys you'd see a lot more muscle growth, I would have to work probably twice as hard and twice as long to get that. Nowadays, though, and to answer about your husband about stretching, for me, what really kind of made my desire to stretch is that if we want to have kids, I need to be flexible. I need to be able to bend down and pick up the baby and do all kinds of stuff.
Not hurt his back doing that.
Not hurt my back, with Buck, our brother-in-law. And he was, he's a fit guy. He was working out. He wants to be strong and healthy. And he's like, you know what? It's only like a little 9-pound baby, but every time I bend over, it's hurting my back. And I'm like, really? So that has motivated me to really start taking on my physical health the way I want to. There are other factors outside of just family that I want to be healthier, and that requires me to be stretched and nimble so that I can work out and not hurt myself working out. So just doing simple push-ups, you're in a plank position, you don't have good stretches, you're going to hurt your back.
His habit, I probably should record him when he does it, but usually we're on different floors, is every time he gets something to drink, coffee, water, no matter what it is, he does one push-up and stretch every single time.
I've got him 2 now.
Oh, sorry. He does 2 push-ups now, and then he stretches his hamstrings every single time. Yep. Have you started doing the quad stretch?
I'll do hamstrings, quads, maybe both. Whatever is feeling somewhat tight, then I will do that because I want to be flexible.
Yeah. And so like a lot of these tiny habits, and I tell people a lot of the habits I've developed are not directly tied to carnivore, but making the bed. I haven't gotten it just because we woke up late this morning, but I did empty it and it's ready to go downstairs. Doing my water every morning, these things, it gives me the wins that I then want to continue on the path and aim the direction I want to go, which is eating healthy, doing carnivore. So some of the habits that you can develop, they don't actually have to be tied around food at all.
Yeah.
Scots aren't. I mean, it's anchored to drinks, but it doesn't have to be about food to make you feel like you're winning in your life, which then makes you want to follow, like if you're wanting to do carnivore, keto, whatever.
And part of the reason why there's 3 books we really, really like to talk about: Atomic Habits, Tiny Habits.
Tiny Habits is my favorite.
And 12 Rules.
Diane would agree with me too.
Yeah.
My favorite habit.
Anyways, these 3 books are really important because they really talk about the psychology of how the brain works. And it's kind of amazing to me because it's a scientific approach. But if you actually read, like, say, the New Testament about dying to self, about being reborn, there's psychology in there about how the brain works, how you be able to live a new life and building good habits. This is all about how the brain works. So if you want to eat better, if you want to have a healthy life, if you want to be productive, you have to learn how your brain works, because what has been going on in society, and if you think about this, like the weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Why do we have overweight people still in this country when there's so much?
Scott and I, we had a conversation about this because this actually infuriates me. So my brother-in-law he has an app and he's kind of set up my workout regimens that he wants me to do. And so I told him, I'm like, okay, he's like, you need to do cardio. I'm like, well, I do walk the dogs and I do the bicycling, but I said, I also do the elliptical. And he's like, well, how long? A minute. That's my minimum. And he, like, I could hear him kind of scoffing at that. And he pushed back on that. He's like, that's not going to make any difference. And it's like, okay, Buck, it's not necessarily about the physical changes right now. It is about the mental changes. I've had that sucker for 4 or 5 years, and my niece has used it more than I have.
Just playing on
it. And it's like, it's about getting in the habit of doing it. And then I, like, my showing up videos, every time it's like, yes, Amanda, good job. And I say this to myself to promote the desire and the motivation to do it. And then the thing is it's not always going to be a minute, but it's these tiny little habits. And that's why I love Atomic Habits. I do. I like this better. Why? Because it gives you exercises and walks you through how to actually create and implement the tiny habits you want to. And I have no affiliation with BJ Fogg or this book or anything. I just love it that much. Y'all, like, I wish I had read this book first at the start of my journey. I would have been further along, but also I wouldn't be sitting where I'm at today. I have to remind myself if I had read this. I love this book, and do the exercises. If you get the book and don't do the exercises, you are literally only getting like a third of the benefit out of this book. Okay. Beyond that. Tracy, butter in my coffee made a big difference and it tastes delicious. It is. I don't mind having butter coffee either in any way, shape, or form. I do prefer heavy cream though. And I think part of it is because it stays mixed better because I drink my coffee slower than he does. Elizabeth, I'm afraid to try that baked cheese you talk about. I would suggest if you are afraid of just over consuming it, I have 2 rules. 1, I cannot have it more than once a week, period, the end. 2, I can only have half of it. Scott gets the other half. We usually use it for like family meetups and stuff. We'll take it with us. Yeah. So then the whole family gets it. It is not something, because it's like $7.99 for the square of it.
Is it like 900 calories or something?
It is. It's fat. It's cheese.
Yeah.
So if you ate a lot of it, it would really stall weight loss. But I use it as an extra treat. And the nice thing is they stay good in their packages unopened for an entire year in the refrigerator. I just discovered that recently because I kept freezing them and then it would change the texture. But then I discovered, Foam roller is a great idea. We have all kinds of PT stuff in storage things. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, strength and flexibility, they're a huge marker. The number one marker, and I actually did a paper on this for college. I mean, this has been a while ago, is the number one indicator of longevity? Being able to walk. That's why I encourage walking so much. Mary, what do you recommend for sore knees? No real injuries ever, just age, wear, and tear. On my job, I walked an average of 8 to 10,000 steps a day. Now, retired, not much exercise, dislike it immensely. Movement, but not exercise. And this is where the mental change comes. Start walking. Your joints need to be lubricated and used and moved, but not over. I wouldn't suggest any high impact anything. I know you say you don't like exercise. So like walking to me, even though in the beginning it was almost like running a marathon because I'd sweat so much, start with just walking around a little bit and slowly increase it. And maybe you like listening to some gentle music while you're walking, or just find something that you love about it. For me, it's taking the dogs for the W. Moving around, walking, and just building up. Eventually, Mary, my goal for someone like you would be getting to where you can walk a mile easily. That's going to take time depending on where you're at, but walking will help so much.
I think you need to pair motivation with ability.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda has really started like loving to bicycle Olive because she loves seeing Olive just run and just have that freedom because she's was in a kennel for several years. And that helps her. Her motivation is really high.
Mm-hmm.
And bicycling, well, it's a little difficult because
it's because I'm bicycling my heart out. My heart's like 140, 160. I'm bicycling my heart out on it.
So that having those meet, and so she actually does it, is fantastic. So if there's something that you can do that you're a little bit more motivated at, to like, every time I check my email, I go walk a house or something, or I walk over to my neighbor once a week and I say hi to them to see how they're doing because I want to build a friendship. Whatever your motivation is, figure that out, because walking, and this is something we learned in our business, is with home health, and we have physical therapists that work for us. Walking is the number one thing that Medicare pays for because it is it's a primary indicator
of longevity of life and health,
but not going back to the hospital.
Yes,
that's what Medicare has to pay. Like, we hate people going back to the hospital because we keep paying for that. That costs a ton. And so if you can get them in physical therapy at home to walk, and then they can drive to outpatient therapy, that's what they want. It's very important to walk.
And then Mary doing some gentle lower body stretching, and then some gentle lower body strengthening. Brad and Tom and Brad, on YouTube, they are verbose, but they have really good videos on just some simple strengthening exercises you can do in sitting. But if that seems too overwhelming, just start with walking, just gentle walking. It'll help. And the last thing is if you want to use, there's videos, Tom and Brad have them too, of kinesio tape. I actually use that intermittently. You can just buy it off Amazon. You can look it up on YouTube, kinesio tape. It helps lift the fascia up to help with fluid movement. One of the ladies that she did our very first meetup with us, she hadn't walked outside, like she'd gone to her car and back, but like actual purposely walking outside in 20 years. And I ended up doing kinesio tape for her knees, and she said it helped immensely for her. Meat Eater said, Scott, have you looked into Dr. Sean O'Mara's strategy, visceral fat, TOFI, then on the outside, fat on the inside, possibly abundance of visceral fat? I'm going to say he probably hasn't.
No, I haven't really looked at it, but I mean, I did some blood work for my annual physical, and some of it was worse than Amanda's. Some was a little better.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my overall health was, I did not have good, what's called metabolic health. Who's the carnivore, not the cardiologist doctor that you interviewed? What's his name? Ovadia. Yeah. So Ovadia's book kind of really talks about that. But that's another reason.
Yeah, I think it's called Stay Off My Operating Table. Okay, we're running out of time. Let's go quick. Elizabeth, my hubby does very physical work, sometimes 16 hours a day. It's so hard to get him interested in exerting himself outside of that. Walks, hikes are about it for now. I think that's perfect. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Walking, hiking, you don't have to do like weightlifting. Eventually, when he starts to feel better and stronger, the desire comes. D, what do you think of the under the desk peddler? Is that beneficial versus no exercise if someone can't get outside? Yes. I've actually used the peddler on plenty of patients. Anything to get your lower extremities moving, using the muscles, is walking better? Yes. But if you can't get outside, the peddler is a good option. Because overweight people are a huge market profit margin, not just the poison crappy food, but also so-called solutions. Yes.
Yeah.
And also, so this is the conversation Scott and I had about the weight loss industry and just like my brother-in-law's response, because he's doing like this like personal training stuff and things. And just most people have not been massively overweight, or they haven't been, more than 40 or 50 pounds overweight that do these kinds of things. So they fundamentally do not understand the difference of someone 300 pounds, never moving around, and they expect them to start going to the gym 3 times a week for 30 minutes. It's like, bruh, I've been sitting on the couch, for the past 10 years. So part of it is that. The other part is this unrealistic expectations that just get shoveled out of losing weight. Like I went from 300 pounds to 120 pounds and on Instagram in the blink of an eye, right? Because it's the time lapse. And so then people are wanting that themselves. And so then they don't get it and then they quit, and it's just
unrealistic expectations and unrealistic goals that they can meet continuously for the rest of their life, really.
Yeah. Okay, let me finish because we're going over. Laura, I'm concerned I'll still try to binge when being carnivore. Should I at least begin in the beginning, try to control portions? No. In the beginning, your only focus should be eating meat. Do not worry about if you're eating too much. Get into ketosis, get that where your body no longer is demanding carbs and sugars. Your brain might still want them for like emotional support, but your body won't. The problem is when we eat carbs, you get the demand from the emotional side, you get the demand from the physical side, and then we eat bad. Just eat meat and don't worry about it in the beginning. After like 4 to 6 weeks, you will notice you just slowly start eating less because your body becomes fat adapted. Do you think eventually you and Scott will build in a ketogenic diet offering as part of your home health business? I don't know. I've never even thought about that. I don't know, but that's an idea. Something for down the road.
I don't know. We have a hard enough time battling family members and their expectations. Like, this is a concierge service. You're supposed to show up when I want you here.
I can't tell you how many.
Works.
I can't tell you how many times I've gone to go see a patient, and then like the family member's like, "So you're here to do their massage, right?" I'm not. This is physical therapy, not massage therapy. No, I'm not here to do a massage because your mom's back hurts. Like, we're here to strengthen it and get her more flexible to help with that. Right. Anyways, Gail, walking's underrated. I've been doing Eccentrics by Miranda White. Focus on small effects movements. Yeah, just small changes, small improvements.
Okay.
Kavita, I realized last night I bought the Atomic Habits books last year, never read it. Your video sparked me to remember I had it, so finally started reading it. It is a good book. Okay. Y'all, thank you for joining us. It was wonderful Sunday. We'll be back next Sunday again. Have a really good weekend. We're going to go see the baby. I already asked in a text message if we could come down and see the baby. And we're going to get those mics too. I need to remember that. Have a really good weekend, y'all, and we will talk to you soon.
Y'all.
Bye. Bye-bye.